Portal, everybody. We got a great show lined up for you. We got a lot of great shows, actually. You'll see what I'm talking about. But first, let's see what's going on this week in school and in the near future. Actually, we're talking about last week now because last week was the 100th day of school. 100 days into the school year. That means there's only like 12 days left? I don't know. More than that, probably more like 100 more days. So we gave away, through the PALCS network, 10 $10 gift cards. And the idea was that 10 times 10 is almost 100. So those $10 gift cards went to the following students: Carson in grade 2, Jelena in grade 2, Samuel in grade 5, Caitlin in grade 10, Samira in grade 8, Jordan in grade 5, Raphael in grade 7, Ryan in grade 9, Anna in grade 4, and Wafik in grade 3. If you are one of those students, congratulations on your $10 gift card. Mrs. Crisafio is doing French Around the World this Wednesday. I got a paper cut on my forehead there. It's this Wednesday, February 15th. If you didn't sign up yet, make sure that you do. French Around the World. Don't lose that one. The high school open house is March 1st. It's in Westchester and Pittsburgh. You can come for lunch and you can interact with your teachers and friends. You can register for it on PALCS School, but you got to do it by February 15th. Also due this Wednesday is registration for the PA Governor's School for the Sciences. This is for juniors, current juniors. It's a month-long intensive STEM program. Science, technology, earth science, engineering and math. It's from July 2nd to August 5th this summer at Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh. Great opportunity, but the application deadline is the 15th, so go on PALCS School to find out more. It's time for a student question. Join me, won't you? Francis in 4th grade asks, how many episodes are there of The Portal? Well, Francis, including this show, there are 75 episodes total. I thought it might be fun to take a journey through time, back through the archives, to recap everything that has ever happened on The Portal. Well, maybe not everything, but here we go. Episode 1, or the pilot, aired in March of 2014 and was hosted by Mr. Mark Murray. The guest was Mr. Osborne? And we were introduced to the Portal Typing Challenge, which has since been retired. But it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. There was a 7-month gap until the next episode. By this time, Mr. Murray couldn't do the show anymore, so a Mr. Osborne took over. That's me. Episode 2 featured Mrs. Guerrero. She talked about some art videos she had made and beat my previous score on the typing challenge. I think it was rigged. Next up was Mr. McLeod, former PALCS computer science teacher. His favorite website is archive.org, and his favorite vintage internet meme is this. Peanut butter jelly! Peanut butter jelly! Next up is Mr. Edsel, middle school English teacher, who showed us an Inception-like video within a video and defended the use of Minecraft in education. I'm still skeptical. Ms. Mulranen joined us on episode 5 to talk about the uses of math in everyday life and the dangers of texting and driving. Episode 6, Mr. Paris told us about the student exchange trip to China. Episode 7, Miss Susky honored computer pioneer Grace Hopper by singing a song and starting a small fire.
Happy birthday!
Episode 8, Winter Break Edition 2014, I began the tradition of promoting my reading of A Christmas Carol. Episode 9, guest speaker Ellen November taught us about the importance of understanding your sources when doing internet research. Episode 10, just announcements. Boring. Episode 11, Mrs. McGinty's first appearance on The Portal. Episode 12, high school phys ed teacher Mr. Slesser shared his dream of someday being part of a flash mob dance. Episode 13, former PALCS teacher Ms. Orzani talked about her days as a volunteer firefighter. Episode 14, my beard disappeared, and Mr. Giuliano talked about Fantasy Surfer. Episode 15, student Caleb Kelly shared one of his inventions. Episode 16, Mr. Jaffrey Clark talked about a book that he wrote. Oh, and the gorilla. Episode 17, Mr. Murray came back for a visit with a Halloween sign. Don't get your tinsel in a tangle. Episode 18, Mr. Guzman introduced the Million Pages Challenge, which we completed. Episode 19, Mr. Walton made a pledge to keep the studio clean. Episode 20, former PALCS teacher Miss Lancenise showed off some of the wall murals she painted. Episode 21, Mr. Heinzelman brought coffee and we chatted about the Cheapskate Bay, Chesapeake Bay. Episode 22, Mr. Bonner had a stapler that was once inside a Jell-O. Episode 23, Miss DePaulo's debut on the portal, and the infamous rat incident. Episode 24, middle school math teacher Mrs. Cole created some custom drinkware for the show and shared her dream of one day being on Survivor. Episode 25, Mr. Ween brought a one-of-a-kind portrait of me and talked about being a horticulturist. Episode 26, Mrs. Paris brought a rake full of marshmallows, inspired by Mrs. Pigglewiggle. Episode 27, more boring announcements. Episode 28, Miss Naylor brought me a nostalgic piece of carpet and somehow managed a 58 on the typing challenge. Episode 29, Mr. Murray is back again. He brought a pedometer. He's pretty health conscious. Episode 30, Mr. Good introduced the student questions segment, and we reminisced about the days of the PSSA video.
PSSA. That's right, the PSS.
Episode 31, Mr. Cooper brought me an Ewok Wookiee thing and revealed that he is a major league gamer. Episode 32, we went behind the scenes of the show. We should do that again sometime. Episode 33, Miss Grodsky helped me celebrate National Cupcake Day. Episode 34, student Q&A. Episode 35, cubes! And Mr. Packer helped me blow some toxic bubbles. Episode 36, Mr. Pike likes Mega Man. He really likes Mega Man. Episode 37, Mr. Van Etten gave us a sneak peek at the latest iPhone. Episode 38, Mrs. Radzinski gave me a Chaucer bow tie and helped us to talk like a pirate. Episode 39, student David Webb realized his lifelong dream of hosting the show. Episode 40, my brother took over and things immediately went downhill.
Right.
I thought there were going to be cubes in there.
Episode 41, Miss Torieri discovered that sometimes even science can't explain science. Episode 42, Ms. Casanova made a sweet video with a vintage video camera. Episode 43, Ms. Neeson did an Irish jig. Episode 44, Miss Kelly solved an age-old math problem. Episode 45, Miss Stefanski talked about... Wait, what did she talk about? Episode 46, Mrs. Pravini told us everything we need to know about the PSSAs. Disclaimer, no test questions were revealed in the making of this episode. Episode 47, the Eagle has landed.
That's what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about.
Episode 48, Mrs. Guerrero, inspired by the previous episode, taught us how to draw an eagle. Episode 49, Mrs. Owens got the all-time high score on the typing challenge. How is that even possible? Episode 50, Mrs. Testerman claimed that her iPad talks to her. Okay, Mrs. Testerman. Episode 51, Mr. Somar revealed his secret of how he does his grades so fast. Episode 52, I'm back! And it's the beginning of the end. And Mr. Maniscalco was also there. Episode 53, Civil War! I won, of course, and I left in a TARDIS.
Where did that come from?
Episode 54, the Season 3 premiere, and Mr. Paulo joined the show as a correspondent. Episode 55, Mr. Murray came back for his yearly checkup and declared himself the winner of the Super Mario Showdown. Episode 56, in which we apologized to Mr. Markward for stealing his Nintendo. Episode 57, Giant Jenga with Miss Johnson. Episode 58, Mr. Allen made me leave for a fire drill. Episode 59, Mrs. Intellicato sprayed me with silly string. Episode 60, Mrs. Steck hit me with a dodgeball. We won't invite her back. Episode 61, I opened the worst Christmas present ever. Episode 62, Mark Hamill stopped by and lost to Mr. Flagler at darts. Episode 63, Miss Reddig and I sat down for a light snack of marshmallows. Episode 64, Mr. Yun phoned in his campaign speech. Episode 65, Mr. Marola got a pie in the face. Episode 66, The Hour of Code? Again? Episode 67, Mr. Paris compared Johnny Depp to Johnny Cash. Episode 68, Mr. Berman tried to attack me with a robot. Episode 69 was the New Year's Fireside Q&A special. Very special. Episode 70, me and Mr. Logue tried to count to 4. Unsuccessfully. Episode 71, the Star Wars Dance-Off. I'm Han Solo. Episode 72, Mr. Waldrop answered some parent questions. Episode 73, the high school teachers told us what they were up to. Brains. Episode 74.
Go.
Wait, what's this? Is this what they... I literally have no memory of this happening.
Assistant host of the portal.
And that brings us to today's episode, in which Mrs. Steck hits me with a dodgeball? That never happened.
And you're out. So am I.
Well, that's our show. Thanks for watching. Please like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter, and come back next week. Have a good one. I'm leaving. This is intolerable. I'm back! And I'm leaving again.